A dusty village in one of the world's poorest nations. A boy born into poverty, surrounded by struggle, with no silver spoon in sight. Now, fast forward, he's 36, leading a military coup and ruling Burkina Faso as the youngest head of state on the planet. How did IBRAHIM Traoré go from nothing to everything? This is a story, a tale of grit, rebellion, and a dream to rewrite Africa's future. Stick around, because you won't believe how it unfolds. This is Kara, Burkina Faso, 1988. A boy's born here small, fragile into a world that doesn't care if he lives or dies. Poverty is not just a statistic here. It's the gnawing ache in his gut, the prayers his parents whisper for rain that never comes. But that boy, he's no ordinary soul. His name's IBRAHIM Traoré, and he's about to shatter the odds. His mom and dad, Hohal and Mantuba, they fought to keep him alive, hands bleeding from fields that gave nothing back. Into that chaos steps Traoré March 14th, 1988, the day a king was born in peasant's clothes. He's the youngest ruler in Africa, leading a coup, chasing a dream. How'd he do it? Let's roll. Step into Kara, and you're stepping into a world on the edge. Burkina Faso's Mahound province, 1988, a speck of a village where the sun doesn't forgive and the earth doesn't yield. IBRAHIM Traoré enters life here, born in Hohal and Mantuba Maycane. Two souls tethered to the land. They're farmers, or at least they try to be scratching millet and sorghum from soil that's more dust than dirt. The rains play games, coming late or not at all, leaving cracked fields and empty stomachs. This isn't a place of abundance. It's a place of survival, where every day tests you and every night haunts you. The houses are mud, the roofs are straw, and the kids barefoot, with cracked heels chase dreams they can't name yet. That's where IBRAHIM grows up, in the shadow of want, in the grip of a tribe that knows how to endure. His parents don't have much, maybe a few goats, a handful of tools, but they have grit. They teach him that life isn't given, it's taken. And young IBRAHIM, he listens. He's quiet, they say, the kind of quiet that watches, that learns. He's got eyes that see beyond the next hill, even when there's nothing there but more dust. School's no easy thing in Kara. It's miles away in Bondakwi, a crumbling building with too few books and too many kids. He walks it, though every day, legs burning, stomach growling. Hunger's a shadow, a friend he can't shake. Some days, there's no meal to come home to, just a mother's tired smile and a father's callous hands promising tomorrow might be better. But tomorrow rarely is. The late 80s at Burkina, hard Thomas Sankar's revolution dead. The nation stumbling, rural spots like Kara left to fend for themselves. No roads, no clinics, water a trek away. It's a trap, this village a cage of poverty that swallows most whole. Yet IBRAHIM's different. His parents scrape what they can send him, maybe selling a goat, maybe borrowing from a neighbor. They see it, to that spark. He packs up, leave the dust behind, steps into a bigger fight. But Kara never leaves him. Those dirt paths, those empty nights, they carve him into something tough, something unbreakable. This village, this struggle is the forge where a leader starts to take shape. The teenage IBRAHIM Traoré steps off Kara's dusty trails and into Bobo del Lasso, a city alive with noise, chaos, and a flicker of possibility. It's not the capital, but it's a world away from the village. High school here isn't handed to him. It's a prize his parents claw for, trading what little they have to keep him in the game. He's still that quiet kid, the one with a steady gaze, but now he's got a pencil in his hand and a fire in his chest. Teachers see it fast. He's not just smart, he's relentless. Subjects bend to him, grades climb, and whispers start. This boy's going somewhere. He graduates with honors, a ticket out of the dust. And in 2006, at 18, he's off to University of Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's beating heart of learning. Geology's his pick, but don't be fooled, it's not just rocks and dirt. It's power, resources, the veins of a nation bleeding out to foreign hands. He's digging into why his people starve while others feast, and it's waking something fierce inside him. The capital's a shock bigger, louder, a tangle of hope and rot. Students flood the streets, shouting for change, and IBRAHIM's right there with them. He's no bystander anymore. He joins the Association of Muslim Students, finding strength in faith, but it's the Marxist-leaning ANEB Association Nationale d'Étudiants du Burkina that lights him up. This isn't some club, it's a war room for ideas. A rallying cry against a system that's kept villages like Kara on their knees. He's not just a member, he climbs the delegate, speaking for his classmates, fighting for their rights. His voice grows, steady but sharp, cutting through the noise. He's demanding justice, fairness, a piece of the future for kids like him. The university's a crucible. Every lecture, every protest, it's forging him. He sees Burkina's wounds up close now. Corruption strangling the cities, poverty choking the countryside. Geology shows him the stakes. Land stripped bare, wealth siphoned off. ANEB gives him the lens. The elite at the top, the masses at the bottom, and a gap that's killing his country. He's not loud like the others, not waving fists or banners, but his mind's a storm. Quiet on the surface, raging underneath. By the time he graduates, honors in hand, he's not the same village kid. He's a man with questions that won't quit. Why do we suffer? Who's to blame? How do we fix it? Burkina's unraveling fast jihadists creeping in from the north. Politicians fattening their pockets while the people thin out. It's 2009, and Ibrahim's done with books. He trades a classroom for the battlefield, enlisting in the Burkinabe army at 21. This isn't a whim, it's a reckoning. He's seen the problem, studied the roots, and now he wants the tools to rip it out. The military is a new beast, grueling, raw, a far cry from lecture halls. But he's ready. That spark from Kara, fanned in Bobo del Lasso, stoked in Ouagadougou with a blaze now. He's not just chasing a career, he's chasing a fight. The nation's crumbling, and he's stepping into the fray, a geology grad with a soldier's resolve. This isn't about grades or degrees, any more about power, survival, and a vision he can't shake. The awakening's complete. Ibrahim Traore is no longer asking why. He's asking how, and he's about to find out. Ibrahim Traore's story takes a hard turn in 2009. He's 21, fresh from university, and the army's calling. This isn't a desk job or a safe gig. Burkina Faso's north is starting to smolder jihadists, spilling over from Mali, shadows creeping closer. He joins up, lands at the Georges Namono Military Academy, and grinds through it. No silver spoon, no shortcuts, just a kid from Kara with a chip on his shoulder and a mind sharpened by years of watching his country bleed. He graduates, and they ship him to Morocco anti-aircraft training, a crash course in war's machinery. He's not loud about it, but he's good damn good. By 2014, he's a lieutenant, boots on the ground in Kaya, a northern town where the air's thick with tension. The insurgency's no longer a rumor, it's real, raw, and ripping through Burkina like a storm. Traore's in the thick of it, an infantry grunt facing down an enemy that doesn't play by rules. He's not chasing glory, he's chasing survival for him and his men. Then comes Mali 2018, the UN's MINUSMA peacekeeping force. Tombouctou region, a rebel hotspot, a complex attack hits, and Traore's there, guns blazing, holding the line. They say he showed courage, not the shiny metal kind, but the kind that keeps you alive when hell breaks loose. He's not a poster boy yet, just a soldier proving he can take the heat. Back in Burkina, things are worse. Jihadists are Boulder Jibbo, Marcoy, the Sahel's a battlefield. Traore's in the fray. 2019, the Otapiano offensive in the East, 7 months of sweat, blood, and chaos. He's not giving orders from some plush office, he's with his men, close enough to smell the gunpowder. Operation after operation, he's stacking experience, seeing what works and what doesn't. The brass notices 2020. He's captain, still young, but battle-worn. He's running artillery now, turning raw firepower into something precise. But here's where it twists. He's not just fighting rebels. He's fighting a system. He sees it up close. Soldiers with no gear, dying for a government that doesn't care. Politicians in Ouagadougou, fat with cash, handing out bribes while his boys bleed out. It's not a theory anymore, it's personal. That disillusionment's a slow burn, eating at him. He's not some wide-eyed recruit. He's a man who's seen too much. January 2022 hits, and Burkina snaps. Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba stages a coup, boots out President Roch Kaboré. The reason? Same damn insurgency Traore's been bleeding to stop. Damiba promises security, a fresh start. Traore's on board, not leading, but backing it. One of the officers who says enough's enough. They call it the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration. Big words, big hopes. By March, he's heading an artillery regiment in Kaya, still in the north, still in the fire. Some say he's tied to the Cobra Special Forces, that elite counter-terror unit. Others swear he never touched it. Doesn't matter, he's a name now, a captain with scars and a reputation. But Damiba's honeymoon doesn't last. The jihadists don't stop attack spite. Soldiers keep dying and the people's cheers turn to groans. Traore's watching, fuming. He's not alone, junior officers like him. The ones in the dirt, they're fed up. Damiba's not reforming the army, not fixing the mess. Traore later says they begged him to refocus, to fight the real war. Damiba doesn't listen. His eyes are elsewhere, his ambitions drifting. September 2022, the breaking point. Traore's had it. He's 34, a captain, not some general with stripes, but he's got loyalty, guts, and a plan. September 30th, he leads a squad of young officers, storms Ouagadougou. Gunfire cracks the night Damiba's out. Traore's in. It's a coup inside a coup, a junior officer's rebellion against the old guard. The capital's alive, crowds hit the streets, some waving Russian flags, cheering a new face. He's not just a soldier. Anymore, he's the spark of something bigger. October 2nd, he's on TV, fatigues and a red beret. Thumb up to the masses. He's not polished, not rehearsed, just real. He takes the reins as interim leader, the youngest head of state in Africa. From Kaya's trenches to the presidential palace, it's a rocket ride fueled by rage, resolve, and a promise. He'll do what Damiba couldn't. Security, control, a nation back on its feet. That's the vow, but the war's not over, and neither's the story. Rolling Burkina Faso. In the heart of West Africa, a nation battered by violence and poverty found itself under the rule of a bold new leader, IBRAHIM Traore. Since seizing power in September 2022, this young captain has walked a treacherous path, promising to restore security and sovereignty to Burkina Faso. But as jihadist attacks persist, economic woes deepen, and international tensions flare, the question looms. Can he deliver? Or will he become another chapter in the country's turbulent history? Traore's ascent was swift and dramatic. In Burkina Faso's second coup of 2022, he overthrew Paul-Henri Damiba, a military leader who had himself taken power just 8 months earlier. Frustration fueled the move soldiers like Traore, battle-hardened from the front lines, felt betrayed by a government failing to quell a relentless Islamist insurgency. At just 34, Traore emerged as the interim president, a warrior promising to reclaim his nation's destiny. Once in power, Traore wasted no time shaking things up. His first major act? Expelling French troops, ending a decade-long partnership aimed at fighting jihadists. It was a defiant rejection of Western influence, a gamble that swapped French support for Russian mercenaries. He pivoted Burkina Faso toward Moscow, aligning with Hunna-led neighbors Mali and Niger in a growing anti-Western bloc. At home, he vowed to tackle corruption, boost the economy, and reclaim natural resources like gold mines from foreign hands. But he also extended military rule, delaying elections, a move that sparked whispers of authoritarianism. To solidify his base, Traore pushed an amnesty law, pardoning soldiers involved in a 2015 coup attempt. It was a calculated play to win military loyalty, but critics warned it could embolden future plotters. In public, he projected strength clad in fatigues, pistol at his side, delivering terse promises of victory. Yet, behind bravado, challenges mounted. The insurgency Traore swore to crush has only grown fiercer. In August 2024, the Barcelona massacre saw hundreds slaughtered by jihadists, a brutal blow to security pledges. Protests erupted in Ouagadougou, with furious citizens branding him IB Captain Zero. The streets seethed with doubt. Was this the leader they'd hoped for? Economic struggles compounded the crisis. Burkina Faso, one of the world's poorest nations, remains crippled by debt and reliant on faltering agriculture. Traore's vision of economic revival, local production, resource control has yet to bear fruit. On the global stage, Traore's rule has been polarizing. His alliance with Mali and Niger, dubbed the Alliance of Sahel States, signals a regional shift away from Western powers and toward Russia. But cracks are showing reports suggest Russian mercenaries are being pulled to fight in Ukraine, risking a security vacuum. His appearance at Ghana's presidential inauguration, armed with a holstered pistol, stunned onlookers and underscored regional unease. Was it confidence or reckless taunt? Internationally, some hail him as a fighter against neocolonialism. Others see him as a strong man stalling democracy